Irene, welcome to my channel. Last time we were here, I promised that I will bring you the wife of Paul Mulandi. Paul is my youngest son. And the story we went through with you last time covered a moment in life that was very difficult for him, for us, and for everybody. And now today we have his wife to share with us what she was going through and what she went through during that time. So Irene, welcome to my channel. Got many friends that have been following and want to hear about your story. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here.
Now let me begin. How did you take it that your husband of 2 years was sick?
Well, of course it came as a shock because, you're just married and you don't know how to behave. But yet, when you get into that covenant, you are all the way, because you say in sickness, you have to be together. And so I wouldn't say it was an easy time, but I thank God because He gave me the strength to go through it.
Sometimes I wondered how you went through it.
I think we had many people who were praying for us, and just knowing that I'm in such a family, you have so many friends, so many people are praying for us, and I believe the prayers really did a great work.
For 2 years, 2 years you're married. Get a baby, he is 9 months.
Yes.
And all of a sudden your husband's,
Yes.
take us through, first of all, he started complaining of what?
Of having back pains. And that time we would think it is because he was in drilling for life.
Yeah.
So basically the boreholes, they would lift heavy, steel and all that. And so we kept on thinking that was it. But I remember it became worse. Every time we would come home from the work, they would travel a lot. And so every time we come and he would say, hey, I'm having the back pain. They're not good. And I would see it because we are with him. And sometimes he would groan. When a man groans, then he's really going through. It's very painful because it was beyond him even crying. And I think that's when we would share and you would tell us, can you now really seek medical attention? And I remember that's when he started going for the 2010 when I got the baby. That was in March, and I remember that is the time that he went for the medical attention, and that's when they diagnosed him with a TB of the spine. And so he started taking the medicine.
Wrong diagnosis.
Oh yes, for 6 months, and then he started using the other one. He would go every day. Kashindano. Yeah, the needle. The needle.
The needle, yeah.
Yeah.
For almost 2 months.
Oh, yes.
But the pain kept on...
In November, it was really bad. We had to go to Aga Khan. I remember we went with you. And that time they said they want to do something on his back.
Yeah.
And I think you had traveled to the States. So when you came, you said, no. So
we got to do more.
Yes.
Finding out what it is.
Oh, yes.
What was going through your mind? I'm going to lose this man.
Actually, I'll be very honest. I think that never really rang in my head.
Yeah.
It never. For some reason, I think my mom had taught me how to pray. I used to be these girls that would go to Goliba before I got married. And I would pray. Even I prayed for my future and for whoever will come along my life, that will be able to go through the storms of life. And so for me, the flesh would really sometimes feel like, oh, Paul is really going through a hard time. But yet, nothing came to my mind at that time.
Before he paralyzed completely, because some of our viewers know that Paul paralyzed. He couldn't sit, he couldn't, stand. At that time now, here my husband, who we would walk together, he can't even sit up. And you have to carry him. Taking him to the toilet, taking him to the bedroom, you had to carry him. Yes. At first I thought, where are you getting all this strength and body energy to carry this man?
Oh my goodness. I think I'll appreciate the fact that when this happened, you and Mom decided to tell us to move in to your
Our
home.
house, yes.
Yes, and I think that family, you know, we were
You were
together.
there, yes.
Exactly. So I wouldn't think a lot about my baby because grandmother was taking care of the baby,
yeah.
and so there was shared responsibility. And then I think this family is a fun family. So even when things are tough, they just laugh. And I think that really also gave me
Was
the
it in
strength.
hypocrisy or real? You know,
No.
people laugh sometimes to cover up.
Well, I would say not really, because we are talking about Paul. Paul, there's no one time he seemed like he was going through. He was the one even giving us the strength, because whatever
He's
was going,
humorous.
he was going through all that, but he was not thinking about it. He was just saying, I think this is just a season for this, so let's go through this. And, you know, he just took it very lightly. And probably, I think in my subconscious mind, I would think that really gave me the strength.
Did you cry when you're alone?
Oh,
did you
yes.
weep? You
Oh,
did?
yes, I did.
Not when you are praying,
no.
but
I would go, sometimes
would
washrooms. Yeah, I would go. And sometimes it's because when visitors would come, and then when mom receives them, there's a way when she would talk about it, it would just make us, ooh, you know, it's
emotional.
Yes. And so you just run, you know,
To the
like
washroom?
yeah, and then, you know, we were
you would
serving a
hide.
lot.
I
Yeah,
never
would
saw
hide.
you anytime weeping.
Yeah.
So you were crying in the. Oh, I see now. I get it. You know?
Yeah. Well, sometimes, yeah, you, of course, you have those moments of like, wow, so people are coming to see Paul. So it's real, you know?
Okay, it's real, yeah.
Oh, it's real. You know, sometimes you're so caught up with the morning, you have to take care of him, the baby is there, you have to breastfeed. All those things you
So
have.
really, you had two babies. You are cleaning and carrying and changing diapers.
Oh yes, I had
Two babies.
One
Now,
grown up.
as a wife at that particular time, here is my man. He can't even sit up. I've lost it. What did you go through? What went through your mind at that time?
Well, I'll be honest. Especially when now you would come. One time I would go and pick some money for, you know, errands, do some shopping, and I would leave Paul there, lying there. And when I'm going to do all those things, that's when you hear voices out there, you know, the way people are saying. And sometimes it was real when some people would ask you, so how is it, you know, and the way they would talk, you would pick, some people would say, it's really, like Paul is really going. You know,
He's going?
Yeah, he's going.
Oh,
and especially it was like one
so
time
not only now the illness, they would say Paul is going.
Yes, he's
because he has cancer.
Yes, stage 4, exactly. Yeah.
He is going. The guy is going.
The one time one person said, hey, you would rather have HIV than have cancer. Cancer, it's straightforward. You're going to the grave. And they didn't know that it really hit me. And I was like, I don't want to hear that voice. And I refused. And I remember that day when I went home, I think that day Paul saw me cry. Yeah, and I said, hey, today some people really hurt me. And I think...
When they said...
oh, yeah.
Cancer, you're going
cancer,
to the grave.
Yeah, cancer, you just go, just take care of him, you know, get to the last moments, enjoy, you know.
And there you are. And then you had one baby.
Oh yeah, just one baby. And
so imagine, I'm going to be a widow, I'm going to have one baby only.
Yeah.
Lord
and
come.
It would have come true because before we got married, that time when we were getting married, there's some people, specifically, there are some people who said that I got married because of where I come from.
Where do you come from?
Okay, we say ghetto life.
Ghetto
life. And so, oh, you're privileged. Now you've gone to a minister's home, and so your life is like, ooh. But at the same time, people would say I got married to Paul because of what he has, where he comes from.
He didn't have anything. What did he
But they didn't know that. You know, people will always talk. He didn't have anything. I think he was just, when we got married, I got my fanya like 6 months. So he had no savings. Actually, I had savings. That's a good one.
So they were saying, you're getting married to this guy because of what he has.
Oh, yes. And where he comes
That is
from.
just an assumption.
Yeah, and some even said after 5 years I will have divorced, or I'll do something crazy. Oh, crazy things were said.
In the ghetto place or just...
No, I'll tell you, in the church.
No way.
Yes, in the church, and
5 years and you are divorced.
Yeah.
And,
yeah,
you're
and so
all together.
Yes,
so when the illness now comes,
now that's it. They said I'm the cause of it.
no way.
Yes.
You caused this because from ghetto life, coming to get buried into the beach, you don't fit.
Oh yes, that's the society. That's how they put you in that box, and you know, it's how you take yourself. Because for me, I think also, even being from ghetto, I would say the values that I got from my parents have really made me who I am right now.
What are those values?
One, you know, when people say things, you just brush them away.
Okay.
Just live your life, you know,
it.
yeah, and then love people. And I think that is something that I've really carried, to love people despite, well, because I'm also not perfect.
Okay.
I have my flaws, but they have taught me. And I think my dad showing us that love really helped me also to know how I can handle people in my life. Yeah, but now connecting that story, why people said that, it's because now when he got sick, they were like, wow, this is what we were saying. So you see?
And they would say it where you can hear.
I will actually tell you, there was one lady who used to braid my hair. You know, we used to live in Phase 9. For those now don't know.
Makongeni Phase 9.
Yeah, exactly.
Makongeni is very international.
I will not
People
say
know it in
names,
America.
but there is one lady, she died. She died. I would go and she would braid me and she would say, hey, the things I've heard here. You know, women when they go
when
for
you
salon,
go to the salon,
they say many things. And, you know, because
it's
they
like
knew,
a ghetto life.
yeah, because they knew we were close with her, and the salon was just near where we were staying. And so people would see me walk and they would pick things and say, and she would hear. They would even say, now, you know, she got married, now she's just waiting to inherit the things the husband has. It was just weird, I am telling you. One time, somebody even said Paul was HIV. I told Paul
Have you
that.
had it?
Yeah. Actually,
When he was slimming,
when he was sleeping, and you know, he was traveling a lot, and so they would say he was going for, I used to tell Paul, launching. Oh my
or
goodness.
traveling for drilling for life,
Yeah.
he's not seen around. So this guy has a life out there.
People will say anything. People.
My goodness.
Yeah, and
Was that the hardest bit, or the sickness was part one? This, what people are saying, is part two?
I will say, I have a problem. Yeah, I
you're
have.
choleric or you're a sanguine? Or
I'm a
both?
sanguine. I
You're
think I'm a
sanguine,
sanguine, and
a friend to everybody. Praise the Lord.
Yes, and so I think with that, what God has, you know, put in my face, I would say, or my you know, my personality, people would think, oh, she has no problems and all that. Oh, but also I don't keep many things.
So go back to the salon before we. The lady
now
who was making your hair.
Yes, sorry.
People are saying many things.
Oh yes.
What are some of them?
Now, for that lady told me that people what were saying, because now Paul was sick. You know, now we were in UTI, they were not seeing us. We had already built a house. Yeah. So now we, you know.
The little house.
Yes, the little house. But when we moved there, now I would go for her to braid me. I would come all the way from UTI and go to her place. And that time, that's when she told me, you know, even people are saying that I'm even sleeping around because of what is happening with my husband. And I was like, wow. So they have even given me men that I can sleep around with. So it was really getting bad. I remember even for us when we went and I was told that I was pregnant with Ashwin now. Because we had been told
after
that
Paul recovered.
Yes, exactly. After 1 year and like 7 months.
Yes.
Yes,
and now you are expectant.
Yes, and that time, because she was still braiding me, I remember she said, hey, your people even from church, they were saying that the baby now, because now people would see.
Yeah.
That
the baby you're carrying?
It wasn't Paul's. And so I remember I would even tell Paul, Weka, put that hand here. And this baby has to look like you.
So that people...
Yes, because, oh yes. And you know, news travel. And I remember my mom, you know, in Del Monte, so much was said, and she was
And she
really
would
hurt.
hear.
Oh, she was hurt.
Because some of them didn't know the connection.
Yes, and she would hear crazy
My goodness.
things. Even you, there are things that people said it's a punishment.
For things I had done.
You had done, you know,
my
people
God.
will say many
Now
things.
that Paul is healed and Paul is preaching,
Uh-huh.
now it is a blessing.
Oh yes,
It's a blessing.
Oh yes.
So where is the punishment? Oh my goodness.
No,
so
that's
we hear
people.
so much. So you carried the second born after Paul got healed.
Oh yes.
That was approved after he had paralyzed.
Yeah.
That was approved that by you getting pregnant that Paul was well.
Oh yes.
And
Oh,
Ashwin
yes.
was one of them.
Oh yes.
And then there was another miracle about Ashwin, that Ashwin kept quiet for, is it 2 days?
3 days.
3 days in the stomach. He was not moving.
Yeah.
And when she told me, is it you or Paul?
No, it's me who told
You
asked
told me that
Yeah.
on the phone, and I said, I told my wife, Reverend Betty, get on the car quickly, get Irene to the hospital right away.
Yeah.
And when they went in there, they found he had
Oh,
the
yes,
cord
the cord.
around his neck, and that could have killed him.
Oh,
Then
yes.
they would have said, this is now what we said.
That's true.
She
Maybe
went
even
collected this baby outside,
yes.
and God had to kill the baby. The David story, my
Oh
goodness.
Lord, yeah.
And now you have 3 children,
Oh yes.
3 wonderful children. Looking back now about the illness, what can you tell our viewers?
I will say this. I think the Bible is clear that all the trials that we go through in this life, there's a way that God gives us the strength to overcome the afflictions, the trials, the challenges, and also at the same time, it's not easily said, but after, when you look back, you can say, surely the grace of God was really sufficient. And for me, I would say during difficulty times, that's when you get to know your friends, the church, the body of Christ, because we had both sides of the coin. We had people who supported us, and they would visit, which I would encourage when somebody's going through a difficulty, visit these people, share what you have. And we saw that people provided food, money is because of the bills, but also at the same time there were people who can kill. When you're going through a hard time, they say the opposite. And so it's good to be aware that we have both sides. We have the negative and positive.
I used to think as a preacher, I am all positive. People love me, everybody loves me. I used to think so. But
yeah.
I think your case just tells us it's not true. It's not everybody.
It's not everybody, I'll say that.
Now, let's switch gears a little bit here and talk about your calling and your ministry. When did you realize that God was calling you to the ministry?
Well, I'll say that is a very interesting question, to be honest. But I will say this. I have encountered, before I got married, you know, the way you go to seek the Lord about your life. I had encountered 2 prophets, and they were just confirming what God had said. I remember one time one of them said that God is, where I'll be married in a place where I'll be involved in the ministry. And there are many things that I'll go through, and God will ground me. So I should know that God has chosen for my path to be that one. Because I remember before joining Life Changers, 2006, when I was graduating, I graduated in November. And before I graduated, you gave me an offer.
What was that offer?
That I can come and, you know, we were some of the youths in the church. And so we were in Nairobi, and you would follow us up, which was a very good thing. And I remember that time you said, we have a group that started in January, and you can come and join them. And so I think my mom even told me, yeah, you know, because she had seen some signs. Now, if Irene goes to Nairobi now and settles there, her line, I was like, you know, here and here. I wasn't really serious.
You're still developing your
I think
foundation.
Yes, and so, you know, the friends you associate with. And I had very interesting friends in Nairobi, but I thank God because when that offer came, my mom encouraged me. and told me,
To
just
cover
come.
up.
Yeah,
Oh,
just come before you graduate. Let's see what God is saying. And so, in that same time, there was a guy who really wanted to marry me to go to South Africa. We do business on information technology. We would do software and all that.
He was in Nairobi?
He was in Nairobi but had traveled to South Africa, one of our family members. And so my dad had seen that's a good idea.
Yeah, of
but
course.
my mom, when she prayed, we had to discuss about it.
Okay.
And I remember when my dad heard that I'm getting, you're serious with Paul? Mtoto wa Bishop. He was
Your dad?
Yeah, he was
He was not
reserved.
sure.
He was like, are you sure? So
Did all that start when you were my receptionist? Because viewers don't know, Irene was working for me as a secretary and the reception at the front desk. And is that where all that started?
No, a while back. I think
It started before.
we were friends.
But
and
not before Life Changes.
No.
It was after or during.
When he was in college and I was in college, we would come here for youth activities, and then we had a group. And so in those groups, we would say what we are going through in Nairobi, if you're having friends. So Paul knew a bit what I was going through, who are my friends and all that. But we had the liking, the liking. The liking was, ilikuwa imejificha, it was hidden.
There's still other guys your eyes fell on.
Oh,
and They
yes.
look very good.
Oh,
They
yeah.
look like possibilities.
Oh yeah, that's
All of us go
true.
through
Some,
that.
some even asked the serious question.
Yeah.
If I would settle with them, but I was not drawn to them,
yeah.
for some reason.
Okay. Now, ministry, going back to ministry. And I think I need to tell our viewers here that Irene is in ministry with me. She's the administrator and HR at the ACMI, the African Christian Missions International. Paul is both my assistant, my international assistant director, and also is an associate pastor here at the church, CCIT. So these are guys that are working with me. It is such a joy. And let me say right here, I have wonderful daughters-in-law, and Irene is one of them. Honestly, it was a surprise that she got married to my son. But even when they were dating, I got a liking. She was sweet spirit, and all she wanted was God, things of God and ministry. And for me as a father, there's a point in which you look back in ministry and say, I think this one is a plus. This one is a plus. Irene has been a plus in the ministry. And Paul has been a plus in the ministry, and so I hope you guys can have a bit of the feel that I have, just interviewing Irene in some of the things that she has gone through, and now we are serving together in the ministry, and she has she has 3 grandchildren that I go out and we hang out together. I don't think there is any richer life and blessing in life like this.
That's
So, Irene, wrap it up, and what can you tell my viewers that have been following, been hearing a lot about my story in this book, and now a little bit outside? What can you tell my viewers?
I would say serving the Lord is always a plus. I want to support what you're saying. It's never easy, but when God defines who you are in the ministry or where He has put you, for example, for me, being in a minister's home and, just discovering what God has in store and becoming what God really wants me, and, knowing and understanding the assignment, it's a beautiful thing. I would encourage, the families, staying together, praying together. Sometimes we go to homes and, a praying home that prays together, stays together. And I believe that is something that people really need to live it. Sometimes it's very easy to be in ministry, to read the Word of God and yet really not obey the Word of God. And, reading the book Bishop has written in his life, it's practical. We can learn from the mistakes. We can learn from the good things that God has used him, even for this generation. For me, I would say that The future is bright, is brighter. I believe this is just a starting point also, just having Bishop teaching us and, helping us to walk in this journey and whatever we've gone through, because that was just minute, because I know Bishop also with Mom, they've really gone through many things and they have overcome. And, when you look at such people, you see a testimony. And for us, I would say that was also something that God really wanted us to go through as a family, also to test our faith and to test really, are we called to ministries? Because I believe what the sickness Paul went through was also a test at that time for God to also show himself that he heals. He heals cancer. And I want to encourage somebody. I believe if you believe that God heals, he does. And we have seen that as a family. And so I want to encourage anyone who is sick out there. It doesn't matter the stage that you're in. God heals. And right now, when I look at Paul, now he's walking. It's a joy to see what God can do. So there's nothing big. That mountain you're seeing that is big, God will always remove it, And if you're going through the hardest moments in your life, this is it. Just hear what we have shared. Go to the YouTube channel and like, subscribe, and just listen to what God has done. He's still doing it. He's healing. He's providing. He's leveling every mountain that we go in this life. And so I'm blessed to be here, to be interviewed and to share what God has done in our lives. Amen. It is possible. Yes.
Amen. Hey. Thank you so much. Because of time, we have to bring it to an end. But please subscribe. Make sure you're a follower of this YouTube channel. And be built up, be established, be blessed as you listen and follow, my story and my life. Click that button, that bell there. Please make sure. And talk to us. Talk to me. Write. Ask questions, and we'll be able to converse with you. So otherwise, God bless you very much. We'll meet you again in the next episode. We're still going through my story in the book. God bless you very much.